Hello everyone, Happy New Year. I have a bit of a massive life update, so grab a cup of tea and let's have a little chat. If you follow me on here and are my friend, you know that 2024 has been kind of a massive year for me. I have definitely been less active on BookTube, both in producing videos and consuming videos. And that has been because I've been spending a lot of the year just kind of inwardly focused and discovering more about myself. So, towards the end of 2023, my mom was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. And that diagnosis kind of got me over the hurdle of like, I probably need therapy for this, right? And so in March, I started therapy, and I feel like that's when my BookTube presence like really decreased, I guess. And that's just because I was spending so much time just like learning and discovering and growing as a person. And with that being said, in the therapeutic process, it came up one session where my therapist wondered if I might be autistic and if I had ever been tested for autism or ADHD. So that was a lot. It wasn't a lot because I hadn't thought of it before. If you don't know, I'm a special education teacher. I work with autistic children all day long and have for 16 years. This is not a new idea that I might be autistic, but because it seems, and this is like an ableist idea, I guess, it seems that everybody is getting diagnosed with autism these days, and everybody thinks they're on the spectrum. And so because of all these like external influences and my own history, I kind of doubted myself and like suppressed those thoughts, I guess, that I basically knew about myself for so long. So when I heard someone outside of me wonder the exact same thing that I had been wondering for years and years, it was a lot. It made me feel validated, and it made me launch into this time of like trusting myself. But it also was really hard to think about how I was perceived by people outside, basically. So I thought about what it would feel like to be formally assessed for autism. Because I'm a special education teacher, I have read loads of psych reports and evals and stuff like that. And I have definitely written like loads of reports on students myself. And I just come at that experience, like, or the writing, with just absolute love for the child. And so I never really thought about what it would be like from like the child's point of view or their parents' point of view to see all this stuff about their child in writing, when sometimes it's like these are like areas for growth, because I just love their children so much that it just didn't really occur to me. And so now when I thought about having a report that has my name on it and that is about me and my deficits, that was just really scary to me. So I took a few days to think about it, and then I decided, yes, I wanted to go forward with the testing. I think that I originally reached out to schedule an appointment on September 23rd, and then it was just a waiting game until the appointment actually came, which the initial like intake appointment was sometime like late November. So in between September 23rd, when I like made the appointment, on November when the appointment finally arrived, it was just this time of like absolute massive growth for me. I created this document, which there's a few of you I've shared it with, so thank you so much for just the way you received it and for allowing me to be vulnerable in that way. But basically it took the DSM-5 criteria, and underneath it, I put all these bullet points with different experiences that I've had or challenges or ways that I saw that criteria like reflected in my life, I guess. And in doing that, I just became so much aware of myself as a person, and I discovered so much about myself. Like, I don't have to be completely drained by social events. Like, there are ways for me to socialize differently in ways that make sense to me and my body, and that allow social events to like fill me with so much like joy and energy and just like feelings of connection and love. And so it was like through writing all this stuff down and doing massive like YouTubing of like autism videos. Like, that's why I haven't watched as many booktube videos, because I've been watching autism videos, particularly autism videos of like late diagnosed women. But I just compiled this massive list, and it allowed me to see myself and notice stuff about myself that was in line with like autistic traits. And in doing so, I also kind of made some tweaks in my life and in how I did things that have really like helped me have fewer crashes, because that was something that I was experiencing a lot, is what I call crashes, which is where I have just been so overwhelmed by like sensory experiences and socializing and everything that I just like crash. Like, I physically cannot do another social thing, and I need to like sleep and rest and have like demand free days. Anyway, where was I going with this? So yeah, I think I was just saying that like it made me discover loads about myself, and I was able to tweak some things. And the document ended up at the very end being 70 pages. I included my observations and reflections about myself, like I said, using the DSM criteria. I also went back on all my old report cards and test scores and stuff as a kid and entered all those. I took online quizzes on Embrace Autism and reported my scores on there. I got feedback from one of my friends and from my mom, and I included that in there. Medical stuff, I included my medications, like 70 pages. To be fair, am convinced that the existence of a 70-page document proves that I have autism. But the waiting game for the intake and the formal assessment and the results still was incredibly stressful, because basically I discovered so much about myself, and what if someone said I was wrong? Like, these traits that I discovered are my traits regardless of if someone says I'm autistic or not. But how would it feel to know something about yourself and to have someone say, no, you're wrong? And then on the flip side, how massively different would my life be if she said, yeah, you are autistic? And so I went to my intake, which was, I can do a video going more into this if you guys want, but I went to my intake, which was just kind of like background information, talking about like my mom's pregnancy with me and health conditions and like just like what was my family like, stuff like that. And then it was a few weeks later, December 10th, that I went in for my actual assessment, which was 3.5 hours long, or 2.5. It was a long time, okay? It was a long I think it was 3.5 hours. And that was all sorts of things. We started off with the MIGDIS, which is an interview where you get to talk about your special interests and stuff. So I absolutely love that. And then IQ testing and a few other tests. And at the end of that, I was like, I'm definitely autistic. But again, the waiting game is just so tricky. So anyway, usually she writes her report and delivers the results 2 weeks later, but just because of the holidays and everything, it ended up being December 19 that I found out officially that I am autistic. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to post anything on YouTube or not, because I want to be completely open about it and fully myself, but also I like to control who I tell and how I word it. And when you just put a video on the internet, you kind of lose all control of what the story is and how you're changing the story depending on who the audience is. But I just found that I had benefited so much from other people's stories and other people's videos. So I thought I would at least make this one, and then if people are interested, I could make others, as far as like different accommodations that I am doing and like learning about myself that are just making life easier for me. It's still obviously a discovery process because it's been a few days basically since I was diagnosed, or professionally confirmed, which is what a lot of people say, to kind of get rid of the medical model sort of phrasing. So yeah, this channel is still going to be mostly booktube content, but if you guys are interested, I might make videos that detail more of the testing process and different like life hacks and stuff. But I kind of wanted to just tell everyone that because I feel like I have an overwhelming amount of support from everyone on BookTube. Like, there's so many of you that I'm so close with and that I know like would have my back 100% and would celebrate with me and all this sort of stuff. And I actually have one BookTube friend that sent me You're Autistic like gift. So she actually got me the mug that I'm sipping out of and some other like fidgets and stuff, which was absolutely amazing. And then just like the messages that I've got from people that I've already shared this with, just like so supportive, so loving, and just made my entire day. So thank you so much if you're somebody that I kind of let in a little bit early, and has been super supportive. That like has made me feel so good. And I know that there are not gonna only be positive comments. I know that I'm gonna get some ableist comments or some like everyone has autism these days, you don't have autism sort of comments. But I think that to live a life with an open heart and being vulnerable is more important to me than avoiding those comments, because I can always just delete them. So that is that. As far as what I'm feeling about it, I think the timing of this is absolutely perfect. At first, I was feeling an immense amount of grief. And I just had one more day to go to work, and then I had 2 weeks off for Christmas break, which is what I'm doing right now. So that really helped me kind of process through the immense grief that I had initially. And the grief was not for being told I was autistic, because as I said, I already really suspected that, and felt validated when it was confirmed. But it was more because the therapist that I have been working with since March is one that I'm going to have to leave, because I need to see somebody that specializes in autism. So absolute massive grief, because I love her so much. I've gotten so close to her. She knows more about me than anybody. And just to like it's not like leaving your doctor or leaving like your dentist or something. It's like somebody that you've been so raw and so vulnerable with, and you have to leave. Like, it is a massive pain for me, a massive amount of grief, and it still pops up every single day, where I just randomly burst into tears, even though it is getting better. But at the same time, I am so excited about what's to come. Last night I had a consult slash interview situation with a new therapist. She is autistic herself, and basically all the other criteria that I would like in a therapist, she meets 100%. And so I was really just hoping that she would work out, because now that I've been in therapy since March, I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and it's harder for me to find someone now, knowing more about myself, knowing more about my preferences, than it would be a while ago when I was just like, oh yeah, I just need a therapist. Like, they're all the same, right? No, they're not. They're not. So yeah, I thought that she seemed really present and really nurturing. And in another week, I'm gonna go in person to see her for a session, and then if that goes well, then we'll formally start working together. But I am just like over the moon. I don't even know. I have so many positive feelings about having this confirmation of autism. And I think above and beyond, the one that comes to mind is just this feeling of coming home to myself. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to have at the end of a year and the start of a new year, this feeling of coming home to yourself and to be authentically who you are. And yeah, just leaning into that over the course of the next year. Like, no like goals or resolutions. I don't do that sort of thing. But yeah, just the feeling of kind of coming home to yourself, I think is so, so beautiful, and it feels so good. And then obviously there's the massive amount of pain of losing a therapist. But in the one that it looks like I'm gaining, I just see so much potential for like being seen, being heard, being understood, having somebody that's like me guide me through this process. Like, I think that this is going to be an absolute massive year of growth in such a good way. Like, I feel like my past therapist really got the ball rolling, and now it's game on. Like, let's go. So thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your patience with me, as I have not posted as many videos. And yeah, whether you're here for book content or if you found this video just for autism stuff, just feel free to leave any comments below on if there's anything else that you would be curious about hearing more about. My next video will be my top 10 favorite books of the year. So I look forward to doing that, because that is always my favorite video to make, to watch, all the things. Yeah, Happy New Year, you guys, and I hope you have an amazing start to 2025. Bye.